There is an old saying, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Meaning, of course, if you don't know about it, it's not going to hurt you. That is far from the truth. Ignorance is not bliss. And this particularly applies to the way we run our lives and our thinking is concerned. Most of us don't realise the effect our own thinking has on our mental and physical health. We just blunder along through the usual habits of the day, cursing at this, blessing that, smiling at this, frowning at that, not realising, of course, that every single thought we have has its emotional component. Now, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, in a famous book written way back in the 1960s called Psycho-Cybernetics, did some research, and actually people preceded him in this, and it came to the conclusion that our minds cannot tell the difference between something that's actually happening and that we have visualized. Now, we visualize a lot of things. And we also see a lot of things, for example, on the television. And if we're in the habit of that, and most of us are, we don't realise, of course, that all of these dramas and these murders and violence and so forth we see as our entertainment are actually affecting us, not just mentally, but physically. Because, as it's said, we can't tell the difference between something vividly imagined or watched and imagined and felt from watching a screen than an actual event. So all of this negativity, whether we realise it or not, containing its emotional component, just doesn't pass over us and waft away into nothingness. We store it inside. Yep, we store it inside. That's how, for example, when we see another show that we've seen before, oh, I remember that, I saw that a couple of years back. Where's the memory stored? You could say in our minds. Where is our mind? Not just in our brains, as so many people seem to think. It's in our mind body. That is, it's stored within us, in the auric field around us at a certain dimension or frequency level, and also interpenetrates in our body and is a part of us. And if we get enough of it, if it gets dense enough and heavy enough, it can seep down. It's a bit like a transformer which transforms down until it can affect our physicality. If we watch enough morbidity and fill ourselves with enough morbid thoughts, don't you kid yourself, it can make us ill. That's why it's best to dwell on good things, listen to good music, etc. There are certain types of music which are really bad for us. We don't realise it. There are other types of music which are really harmonious and good for us and healthy for us. We need to be very careful what we put into our minds, because we become habitual thinkers along those lines. And as I said before, and in many of these videos, every thought contains its emotional component, and every part of those emotional components, if strong enough, are stored within us, affecting our health, affecting our well-being, to the point where it can actually cause us a very serious illness indeed. It's said that if we contain anger or feelings of revenge long enough in our life, churning it over in our minds, it will eventually perhaps develop into cancer in the body. This is the way it is. These are the laws of life which we don't really fully understand yet. But it's worth noting. If you live a pure, wholesome life, a happy life, a kind life, and you dwell mostly on kind and loving things, then you'll have a much happier life than if you go on the opposite way and think of revenge and anger and resentment. These things will make you sick if pursued long enough and deeply enough. What we think about, how we live our lives, the people we mix with, our particular philosophy of life, all of these are very, very important to our well-being. It's best to be aware of it.